Hey Bookish Babes, and welcome to my book nook. One day, I'm going to remember to record an intro before the end of the vlog, so if you see the same outfit at the end, this is why. But today is not that day. The name's Rainy. I teach music. I love books. That's the intro. Here we go. All right, we are doing another anticipated thriller reads vlog. I believe this is like the third one that I've done. If you don't know, thrillers and horror are kind of like my main jam, but I do read other books as well, but mostly it's like thriller and stuff. So I'm going to be reading 4 2022 anticipated thrillers in this, and since I am doing the intro last, I already know how this vlog ends, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I am going to say it's going to be a wild ride, full of flops and bops. So if you're ready for that, stay tuned. I'm going to tell you the 4 books that I'm reading. I'm not going to explain them because I'm pretty sure I explain each one and what they're about throughout this vlog. So I'm just going to save you time. And I'm going to do it in backwards order because the books are stacked backwards. So I'm going to be reading The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark, which came out, I believe, in June. The Violence by Delilah Dawson. I can't remember when this came out, but look how thick that book is. The Golden Couple by Greer, Hendricks, and Pekkanen. This came out in February of this year. And the lovely House Across the Lake by Riley Sager, which this came out in June, July, something like that. And I've never read a Riley Sager before, so I'm super excited about that. So these are the 4 books that you will see in this vlog. And with that, I'm going to let Old Rainy commence. Okay, friends, I'm starting this thriller vlog with The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. And yes, I've looked better. Don't judge. I have COVID right now, okay? I'm on an air mattress in my office to isolate from my family, and it sucks. It really sucks. But I figured I could at least have a lot of time to read, especially because my birthday's in 2 days, and I don't get to do anything anymore because I have Rona, and it sucks. So, anyway, I will say I've got a very mild condition of it, thank God, but it still sucks. Anyway, we're going to start with The House Across the Lake. And I'm hesitant about this. Haley Hughes, of course, loved it, but she loves Riley Sager. Reading Riley, who I just watched hers, I didn't watch her spoiler section, but she hated it. She loved the first 75%, and then the ending was awful. So this is very mixed reviews across the bag. So I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. This is my first Riley Sager, and so I'm hesitant, but also excited. And so this one is about Casey Fletcher, a recently widowed actress who's trying to escape bad press, has retreated to the peace and quiet of her family's lake house in Vermont, armed with a pair of binoculars and bourbon. She passes the time watching Tom and Catherine Royce, the glamorous couple living in the house across the lake. They make for good viewing. He's a tech innovator and she's a former model. One day on the lake, she saves Catherine from drowning and the two strike up a budding friendship. Sorry, you hear my son in the background. But the more they get to know each other and the longer Casey watches, the more it becomes clear that Catherine and Tom's marriage isn't as perfect as it appears. When she suddenly vanishes, Casey immediately suspects Tom of foul play. What she doesn't realize is that there's more to the story than meets the eye and that shocking secrets can lurk beneath the most placid of surfaces. So I'm excited to read this. I am going to get started with it tonight. Hopefully I'll get about maybe 50 to 100 pages in and I will give you an update at that point. Okay, I'm only a minute into this audiobook, and this narrator's voice is annoying AF. Like, I don't even know if I can make it through much more, because this is ridiculous. So, I might be reading this Un Physical. Okay, update. I read about 60 pages. I am about 17% in, according to Goodreads, and I'm really enjoying it. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll just have to wait and see what the twists are, because I've heard that's when the plot goes downhill. But all that's really happened so far is we found out how her husband died, and she owns like one of the lake houses. It's all rich people that live there, like authors and celebrities and models and all that. And I mean, this is all said in the plot already. In the cover, I said she saved the model from drowning, and now they're friends. and you're just getting a look into her. She is an unreliable narrator, I can tell, because she has a huge drinking problem. She drinks bourbon like crazy, and she's an alcoholic. So I'm just waiting to see how that's gonna play into this. I'm kind of getting Woman in the Window vibes, even though I've never read that, because I know that it's the same thing. Like, she watches stuff through the window, and she does that with the binoculars that are of her husband. So I'm just waiting to see what happens. But I'm really enjoying it so far. Hopefully I'll read a little bit more before tomorrow, but we'll see. Hello friends, I actually cleaned myself up because that will hopefully make me feel better. I'm actually feeling a lot better. I only still have a really bad cough, but I still tested positive today. But I can test positive for up to 30 days, so I'm just following the CDC's guidelines, and on Thursday I'm free of isolation, apparently. So we'll see. Anyway, update before I finish cranking out this book, because I'm probably going to finish it today. I'm 55% in, so I'm at like the, what? 180 page mark, and the first like major twist just popped up, and I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like I need more understanding, which I'm sure is going to come from the rest of this book, but I was not expecting it at all. So I'm really liking the way this book reads, though. Like, it's reading really easily, but yeah, I'm just intrigued in where the story is going to take us, and now I have to give my son a snack. All right, let's chat. I have my Christmas cup because good tidings to all. I'm rocking the winter vibes in the summer. Why? I don't know. I couldn't find my summer sweater. Anyway, I'm going to close the door really quick because the TV is kind of loud and my son is watching TV. But let's talk Children on the Hill. Let me grab my book. Let's talk about it. It was a 2-star. So, there are a lot of issues with this. And I'm going to go the non-spoilery route first, and then we're going to have a sec to talk about the spoilers. And I will put spoilers on the screen so that you're not ruined. But the first 200 pages of this read very boring. It was very much like House Across or Woman in the Window. I've still never read that. But I've heard many people say that Woman in the Window was a much better book than this. But the first 200 pages is like the typical woman that's like stalking her neighbors through the binoculars, like is a unreliable narrator, drinks a shit ton of bourbon. It said, McKay mentioned this in his vlog, that she says the word bourbon like 70 something times in this book. It's like bourbon, bourbon, bourbon. She's drinking bourbon, all this stuff. Anyway, the first 200 pages were really boring. There was nothing really going on. And then you get to the twist or 2 or 3, and no. I'm sorry. No, I was not a fan of it. I feel like some of the twists were really good. There was one in particular that if the book had not added that, I would have been 100% about it. That one twist just didn't do it for me. And so because of that, I had to put it to a 2. And it just got ridiculous. Like, the more and more we went, the more ridiculous it got. Now, I've never read a Riley Sager before this. I do own the rest of his books. I'm going to read the rest of them, and I'm not going to unhaul this specifically because I want to own all of the books and then, like, decide at the end whether or not he's for me and then get rid of it. But I'm sad. I'm sad in the direction this headed. And there were a lot of plot holes and, like, just a lot of things that came to mind. And I'm very sad that this ended on a 2-star. I'm very curious to see what Gabby and all of them think because it's Gabby's book troop selection. And I think it is also Kayla's book troop selection. And so I have a lot of people to hear their thoughts about. And I have a feeling Gabby's going to love this. And Kayla's going to trash this. At least if my predictions are right. But we'll see. But now we're going to get into spoilers. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, this is your last chance to, like, tune away. I'll put the clip so that you know when to come back. But let's talk some spoilers. I'm avoiding my son, hence why you hear him screaming at me. So let's talk about the reason I trashed this. So in this whole entire book, you know, the girl is like, the girl that she's stalking, like, she ends up saving, that she was drowning in the lake, and she saves her, and that's her neighbor across the street, like, or across the lake, like, this millionaire, like, model girl that's with, like, this tech mogul guy. Anyway, you can tell that they're not unhappy. She, like, you know, spies on them the whole time, sees them, like, witnesses a fight with them, and then she disappears and she assumes the husband did it. And the whole first 200 pages are, like, about that. And then, like, you're also hearing this, like, subplot about 3 girls that have disappeared on the lake over time. And also the girl that saved Catherine, the main character, what's her name, Casey, her husband also passed away because he drowned in the lake a year ago. Anyway, you find out halfway through that the serial killer, the guy that murdered all 3 women, was her husband. So that was the first thing, which that alone was like, damn, did not see that coming. That was a great twist. But then where they took it next, I could not fathom. And that was when it turned paranormal, and it turns out that Catherine was being locked in the abandoned house next door to her house, was tied up because she was possessed by the spirit of her dead husband, whose body or whose soul stayed in the lake. And when she almost drowned, he like went into her and is possessed, and he's come back. And I'm sorry, I am all for a paranormal twist if I am expecting it and it is told that it is a paranormal book. What is not okay is when I think we are in the real life world, like dealing with thrillers and serial killers and shiz, and then you pop some fantasy paranormal, weird, ghosty, like magic lake, special power, possession crap. I'm not okay with that. You should have marketed this as a paranormal thriller, but you didn't. So I feel like that's really cheap. Of course, like you couldn't even have just stuck with the whole serial killer bit. Like I thought that was really good. And then there's some more twists later down the line. But instead you had to put us with that. I just feel like that's a really easy way to like explain away shit, and that like you could have done better than that. So I'm not very impressed, if we're being honest. I'm a little upset with it, but it's okay. We survive. And then you get to the end and you find out that not only is that happening, but also that the girl, Catherine's husband, was trying to kill her. After all, he was trying to slowly poison her. And so that foiled his plans. And so, you know, she's dealing with all of that. And she is about to call the police to say that she knows what's happening to Catherine. And then Tom, the guy, just ends up magically at her house, like at the same exact time. How, I don't know. Starts attacking her. And then, you know, she stabs him or something. They're fighting in the lake, and then the police show up right as she pulls him out of the lake and slashes his throat. And I'm like, oh, so they're watching her murder him, and they're not putting her to jail for that. Mind you, I don't know. Anyway, there was just too much going on in these last 50 pages, and that paranormal twist not work for me. I'm a little upset by it, and yeah, so it's a 2-star. If you had put it as a paranormal thriller, I probably would have thought it was really good. But I'm not for that whole, like, witchy magic lake thing when I'm not expecting it. So, that's my thoughts. All right, we're done with thrillers. I'm going to go and eat some lovely dinner. And then probably the next book I'm going to start is The Violence by Delilah Dawson, because I only have 7 more days of the audiobook. It's 500 pages long, and that is Haley Hughes' book club selection for the queens or whatever we're called. I can't remember. But yeah, so off we go. Hello friends. I feel like this vlog is not very updatey because I've had COVID for most of it. And I'm with my son, so you're going to hear his show in the background, and I'm in another pair of pajamas because that's all my life is these days. I'm apparently not contagious anymore. I'm going to take another COVID test today and see if I'm actually negative at this point. But it's been 5 days, and so I can go back out into the world on days 6 through 10 with a mask all the time. But I might not go anywhere yet. I haven't decided. But my husband now has COVID, so that's unfortunate. But here we are. Anyway, update. I am reading The Violence a little bit later. I know I said in that last clip that I was going to be reading that, but I changed my mind because I'm saving that for Summerween. Also, this is the time where someone decided to weed whack the yard. They were doing that, I kid you not, at 8 in the morning. And I was like, what are you doing, kind sir? People are sleeping. They woke Tiny Tim up. Not happy with that. I am reading The Golden Couple because I've had this since February. It was the book of the month selection then. It's by Greer, Hendricks, and Pekkanen, that writing duo. I own one of their other books, like The Girl Before, or like something, I can't remember what it's called. But I haven't heard like exceptional things about them. I've heard like their writing's just okay. So in this one, we are following Avery, we're following Marissa and Matthew Bishop, and they're like this wealthy suburbanite couple, and Marissa is unfaithful, and so she ends up hiring a therapist to help get them. An unconventional therapist, though, because Avery's a therapist who lost her professional license, and you find out really early on why she lost it, and it's kind of shady. She's kind of shady. She has unorthodox methods, and she does 10 sessions with clients, and the bishops are desperate. Well, Marissa's desperate because she cheated on her husband. She wants to fix things. And then, of course, there's probably more secrets that are hidden and whatnot. I just finished part 1. There are 3 parts, so I'll probably update you when I finish part 2. I'm about 110 pages in, and it's just kind of boring. Like, I like that you're getting to flip between the 2 perspectives, between the therapist perspective and the main girl. Although I don't really like the main girl's perspectives. Hers are just kind of whatever. I'm more interested in, like, the therapist because she's kind of, like, unorthodox. But it's been interesting. We've gotten through 3 sessions out of 10 with the bishops. Avery, you're learning a lot more about her past. You're learning about Marissa's. You just found out who she cheated with and, like, all this other stuff. That was the end of part 1. So I'm just interested in seeing where this is going to go because it is a thriller. So I have, like, theories, but I'm not sure if any of them are actually going to come to fruition. But it's just kind of whatever. I'm not, like, fully invested yet, so we'll see where this takes us. But I'm going to try to get to the end of part 2 today, and then I will update you. Right? Right. Okay. Hello. Sorry the lighting is terrible. I'm on my couch right now. But I said I would give you an update at the part 2. End of part 2. Cannot talk. Okay, so I have about 100 pages left. I am about the 70% mark. I just finished part 2. This revealed a twist. However, I saw that twist coming, but I don't know how I feel about it. Like, there's still like, that character, I don't really understand, like, how he's gonna tie into everything. And then there's one other character that I'm just waiting to, like, figure out, like, was that person just a red herring to, like, distract us from, like, the other person, or, like, what? But I don't really know how I feel about this still. It's still just kind of boring. Like, I'm not really invested in it, but I only have, like, 100 pages left, so I'm probably gonna finish it just because I'm, like, I want to know, like, how this is gonna end up. But at this point, I don't really see this getting past, like, maybe 3, maybe 2.5, 3 area. We'll just have to see how this keeps going. But it's nothing special. I've kind of heard all their books are kind of just, like, nothing special. They're not like the Christina Lauren writing duo, because Christina Lauren books are usually pretty good, although Something Wilder kind of missed the mark. That was Something Wild for sure. Also, like, we're gonna choose to ignore this giant pimple on my head because it's bothering the heck out of me, and it won't go away. Also, I got this shirt today, and it is just, you know, like, goals. And there's my pooch sleeping in the corner over there. Alright, well, anyway, I am going to take a break from this for tonight. I'm going to check my emails, get some work done on my music teacher store that I also make products for, probably organize my bookshelf because I have a giant book haul coming. Actually, the book haul should be up already by the time this video airs, but I have a birthday book haul that I just filmed today. I need to wrap up and edit. Surprise, I'm wearing this shirt in it, and you'll have seen that video already. But yeah, I need to put those books on my bookshelf, and then I need to start mapping out the rest of my content for the next month or so, and catch up on some of my favorite YouTube creators. Like, I just watched Books and Lala's, her latest mystery vlog, which was so cute, and so I'm probably going to catch up on, I don't know who's is next, but I have a couple to catch up on. So I will check back with you when I finish this book with my final thoughts. Alright. Finished The Golden Couple, and I gave it 2.5 stars. I only didn't give it a 3 because if I give a book a 3, then I would still recommend it. And I don't necessarily recommend it because I thought it was extremely boring. I didn't care. Oop, my camera's falling. I thought it was extremely boring. I didn't care about the thriller at all. Like, and I just didn't care about the reveal. Like, I didn't care about this book, which I am sad to hear about. I've heard that they're not the best dynamic writing duo, and that the only really good book of theirs is called Anonymous Girl, and I don't own that one. I own The Girl Next Door, which I haven't heard great things about either. I'll probably read that, and then I might read Anonymous Girl, but I'm not sure. I don't really want to buy it because people are, like, not saying their thrillers are the best. I don't know. It was just, like, all right. Like, it wasn't an awful book. Like, I enjoyed the writing and all, but like I said, the story just, like, didn't do anything for me. It was just, like, in the middle of the road. I thought the ending was, like, just kind of whatever. Like, I don't know what more to say about this. Like, it just wasn't, like, a fun time. Like, I didn't, like, love reading this. I didn't hate reading this. Like, it was just in the middle, but I wouldn't recommend it, and I would recommend a 3-star book still, so that's why I put 2.5. And that's really all I'm going to say about it, because I just, you know, you like some, you don't, and I didn't like this. So this vlog is not being super successful so far because we have a 2-star and then we have a 2.5 star. So hopefully this picks back up with the next book I'm going to read, which is The Violence by Delilah Dawson, a 500-page chunker. Hello, friends. I'm in my son's room while he's playing with his toys. Say hi, Linky. Hi. And I have gotten to about the 50% mark of The Violence. So I'm about 250 pages in, because remember, just be a big chunker. And my thoughts. I kind of think it's very boring. I'm not really sure if we need another 250 pages. I am interested in what's going on. So, like, it's not like I'm completely upset that I'm reading it. Like, I have a feeling this will probably be like a 3.5 star, if anything. Maybe 3 star. But there's just a lot going on, but also not a lot going on. So they're still following the 3 characters. They're switching between the mom and the daughter and her. And I'm a little confused at, like, this whole wrestling thing that's going on in this. And I'm not going to explain it because, like, that's part of the plot. But right now, I'm at the part where, like, the mom is separated from the daughters. And the daughters are dealing with shit. And the grandma's dealing with stuff. And I'm just kind of bored. Like, I don't know. I'm waiting to see if this book picks up. I'm waiting to see what happens as a result of this violence that, you know, is going on. But I'm halfway through and it's just kind of, you know, whatever at this point. So, I don't know. I need something to change. But my goal is I got to keep reading because tomorrow's my last day with the audiobook. And I ain't be reading this physically by itself. So I got to read, and read some more. We'll come back with another update at some point. Alright, friends, ignore the mess behind me. My siblings have moved in for about 2 weeks due to their apartment not being available yet. Update. I am 85% through The Violence. And y'all, it's putting me in a slump. It is putting me in a mother-frickin' reading slump. This book is just not it. I'm not hating it. It's not that I even hate it. It's not even that I hate the characters. But there's this whole, like, wrestling timeline thing that's going on that I just don't care for. My husband's staring at me. And it's just very slow. It's 500 pages and it really only needed to be 300, maybe 350 max for this storyline. So I'm just kind of over it at this point. And I have about 100 pages left and I don't know if I can do it. Can I do it?
Do what?
Finish this book.
Sure.
You didn't listen to anything I just said, did you? Sprinting with my favorite people. I just ate some yum and tacos and reading a good book. Okay, it's like 2.5 hours later and I stayed up and I finished. I finished all 500 pages of this chunker right in the nick of time for the end of July. And it's going to get a 3.5 stars, just like I thought it would. So I almost gave it 4 stars because of the ending, but honestly, this took me an entire month to read. Like, I'm not even kidding a little bit. This took me the entire month. I really liked it. Like, I loved all the characters. I thought the grandmother, like, had such good character development throughout this entire story. Like, she's kind of like this snobby, awful mom. Well, and grandmom, and by the end, because of this whole thing, like, whole experience, like, she's actually really kind and loving and, like, has a great relationship with them. So, like, the grandma, 100 points all the way. The mom was great. The daughters were great. Like, everything was, like, honestly, the characters were fine. It wasn't the characters that I didn't care about. It was just, like, there was just so much stuff that didn't need to be in it. Like, it was a... my sister to sneeze. Like, it was a 500-page book, and it really should have been like 300, maybe 350 max. And so, like, I just felt like there were parts that really dragged. Like, this last 25% I've been sitting on for at least like a week and a half. And I've rented it from the library twice. I finally turned it in, thank God. But yeah, I finished. I'm glad I finished. That was a very big chunky of a book, and I am glad that I read it, but it's just 3.5 stars. It's still solid. If you want to read it, I recommend it, but go into it knowing like it's really long and it drags a lot, but it still could be worthwhile for you. All right, I am currently reading the last book in this anticipated thriller vlog, and that is The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark. I wanted to read another one of my book of the month options just because, like, I want to make sure I'm actually reading those, which I still have a lot of book of the month ones that I'm not reading. And I could have read You're Invited. Maybe I'll read that if I still have time. But I chose this one. But there's no audiobook available on Scribd or my library. There probably is one on Amazon, but I don't want to pay for it, so I'm reading it physically. But it is so good. I'm 50%, no, I'm not 50%. I'm 50 pages in, so I'm about almost 20% in. And it is so good. Like, I'm just loving this author's writing. I can tell this is probably going to be a 5-star. I don't know, there's just certain times where I read a book and you can just tell that you're really vibing with the writing and the way it's written, and you can just tell that it's going to be really good. I can tell with this one. So this one is about Meg Williams or Maggie Littleton or Melody Wild, different names for the same person depending on the town, depending on the job. She's a con artist who erases herself to become whoever you need her to be. A college student, a life coach, a real estate agent, but nothing about her is real. She slides alongside you and tells you exactly what you want to hear, and by the time she's done, you've likely lost everything. Kat Roberts has been waiting 10 years for the woman who upended her life to return, and now that she has, Kat is determined to be the one to expose her. But as the two women grow closer, Kat's long-held assumptions begin to crumble, leaving Kat to wonder who Meg's true target is. By this point, it shifts back and forth, dual perspective between Kat and Meg. And so Meg is like focusing in on her latest target, which we know who it is, but we don't know exactly what happened, but something happened with her mom and her and him. And then Kat, something happened with Meg and her, where Meg ruined her life somehow, and so Kat's wanting to take her down. And so I'm just waiting to see how the two timelines like interconnect and like what's going on. But this is so good. Like, I am loving it. I cannot wait to read more. I will give you another update when I get a little bit further.
A new place, a new home for a while. Let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back. Take my time, just enjoy the ride. A new man passing by. Life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, somewhere new, somewhere I can find myself. Oh, I feel so alive. As I reach out to the sky.
Okay, so I dropped the ball here, and I did not vlog as I finished reading this book. I'm pretty sure I only updated you like 50 pages in, and then I just forgot to vlog, and so I'm just here to tell you my final thoughts on this book and close out this vlog. So this was the only 5-star that I had, and I loved this book. I absolutely loved it. I've never read anything else by Julie Clark. I hadn't even heard of her before this, but I picked it up because it looked like an interesting thriller to me, which is funny because it's about not stolen identity. It's about like, what was I saying? Fraud and like a phony. And I picked up another book called Cover Story that's like kind of like the same deal. So I guess I'm like into like, I don't know, frauds as of late. But I just loved this. I loved everything about it. I loved Meg's perspective. I loved Kat's perspective. I loved when you finally like find out what's going on and why they're each doing what they're doing. And then at the end, the very end, how this book ends, I just love it. Like, it's so much like good for her, like girl energy. I definitely love it. So I thought this book was fantastic. My siblings asked me to be quieter, so I gotta be a little quieter because my brother-in-law is sleeping. Anyway, I thought that this was fantastic. I thought that each perspective was great. I really loved like the flashbacks between like 10 years ago, back when all the stuff is happening, like how she gets into her fraud work and how that other girl like how they know each other. And then in the present day, like how it all co-aligns together. I don't know. This was just interesting from start to finish. I never thought that it got too intense on fraud stuff, but there were a couple of times where they were talking about like the fraud stuff about financials and like housing and stuff that it kind of like took me off base a little, just because like I didn't understand all of that political like financial house jargon and stuff. But she does a pretty good job of breaking it down. But I just love this. This was just a very fun time. I flew through this book. Like I absolutely loved reading it. I always wanted to pick it up. So if you're looking for a good feel-good thriller, this is definitely that for you. And with that being said, let's review all of the books that I read for this vlog. I read The House Across the Lake, and we started off with a 2-star. And then we moved to The Golden Couple, and we got slightly better, and we got to a 2.5 star. And then we went up to The Violence, and we bumped up a little more, 3.5 star. Okay, not terrible, not great. And then we ended with a banger, 5 freaking stars. So you know what? It went up each time. I'm happy with that. Do I wish that I had had more successes in this thriller vlog? Of course I do, but you know what? I also wish I had $1 million, and you can't always get what you want. Which is so funny. I've been saying that to my son so much lately when he like tells me something after I said no. I'm like, well, I want $1 million, and we can't always get what we want. And he looks at me like, what the hell, Mom? Because he don't understand what I'm saying. He's 3. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this vlog now. I am just over talking at this point, as I tend to do. And I love you all later, and I will see you on Wednesday with my July wrap up. Bye.